Hello and welcome to my hobby bench. Yet again. So about 2 weeks ago or so, I had the first contact from a new friend. His name is James. And James contacted me because he's watched my channel and had some things he wanted to send to me or see if I was interested in being able to do anything with them. Turns out James is pretty damn incredible because he builds airplanes for people. And the work he does is just absolutely phenomenal, and he doesn't really charge much for it either. So I've been corresponding with him back and forth via text and email, and he sent me some pictures. And James, I hope you don't mind me sharing some of these pictures of your work, because it's just absolutely unbelievable. And so he sent me this box of engine parts. And that's what we're going to look at today. And yes, I have gloves on because when I open this box up, I think you'll understand why I'm choosing to wear gloves on this. Because this box is in it looks like and smells like it could be kind of moldy. So I don't really want that all over me. So we're going to open up this box of parts. And he sent these things to me to see if there was anything I might be able to use to help service other people's engines. And after I've looked through these, it's like I don't really see anything that I have yet to be asked to service, nor is there anything in here that I can actually salvage. So, with that said, I do want to at least see if I can clean some of these things up to a different state. So here's the box of parts. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put it off to the side and one by one pull these things out. And zoom in a bit. So this first engine is an OS Max AX. It's an AX46. So I don't know exactly the timeline of when these engines came out, but I'm asking myself, how in the hell does this engine have to be stored or whatever to end up in a condition like this? I mean, this is a 2000s engine, but yet it looks like it's 40 years old and stored someplace really horrible. So I don't even know if I'm going to bother taking these things apart. I just set up a brand new vat of ultrasonic cleaning solution. Some of these things I may just drop in there as is and just see cleaning them up like that first, and then potentially seeing if I can take them apart. Here's another one. Now this one is familiar. It's an OS40 FP. And to me it almost looks like somebody's polished this engine up a little bit, but this is an older, no, this is the newer version of the FP, which is the ABN and not the cast iron piston. So at least this one rotates over. So I mean, about the only thing I'm seeing that could be usable for me on any of these things is the fasteners, because they're OS fasteners. So that one's in poor condition. I don't know if you noticed, this one doesn't even have the front bearing. It's missing some fasteners here. I don't know exactly where James came up with these parts, these engines. Here's an OS Max FXI 46. Again, this one's missing the front bearing. It's missing a lot of things, but the carb actually rotates. And the FXI apparently is much different than the AX. So the FXI and AX series of OS engines are ones that I am very unfamiliar with. If I had to guess, I would say that the FXI is the series that came right after the FX series, so this probably came earlier. And I haven't looked at my OS engines timeline. I can go and do that real quick. But I think this is probably earlier than the AX, obviously, because the AX is a series that's still being produced. Maybe not this particular displacement, but it's still being produced. And then here we've got a little bitty OS Max 15, FP15. That's kind of a cute little engine. So I don't know if anybody's watching this and sees, hey, I've got one of those engines, and you think after I get these things cleaned up, if you think you might want some parts, just give me a holler. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is just strip them all down for the fasteners, because so far out of all these, nobody's ever asked me to service any of these. So it's not like I've got a lot of demand for servicing these engines. So it looks like the rest of the parts in here might be some, you know, a couple of hubs, which may or may not go with those engines. But the rest of the parts in this particular box are from a YS engine, which is rather interesting, but it's a YS engine that's in the worst shape I've ever seen in my life. I mean, this one is so dark, I'm not sure if this was just discolored through cleaning, if it was painted or what. I mean, so I don't know. This is a YS engine that is a complete basket case. James was telling me that the piston is scored and the sleeve are scored. So, and I did preliminarily look for some parts to hopefully fix this before I got these. But after seeing the condition this thing is in, there's no way I would ever invest any kind of money in trying to fix that thing. So that's that. So it's just an FS, a YS F120. So again, anybody that thinks they might need some parts, you know, send me an email. Here's the head. About the only thing I can do with this is, you know, potentially take this header off and clean this thing up and drop the valves on it. I mean, so as far as the YS one, I'll probably just disassemble it all. Here's part of the rear cover. And I say part of it because here's the other part of the rear cover. Like this. Oops, like this, I think. So, rear cover intake manifold, which the intake manifold is still viable. So there are some parts here that could be salvaged and provided to people that need them. Like here's the rocker cover. No gasket, obviously. But then after those, there's just some other miscellaneous parts in this box. Looks like the timing gear and a bearing for this YS engine. Regulator assembly. So there are some parts here for the YS. There's the push rods. So there are things in here that could potentially be cleaned up and reused, provided somebody needs some of these things. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe just put the YS stuff back first. And that's going to have to go in there separately, but I think I might just go in there and just drop a couple of these parts in the ultrasonic cleaner as they are. Maybe I'll just go ahead and pop the rear covers off and take the carb off of this one. You know, maybe I can just go ahead and disassemble these. I really kind of wanted to keep them like this so that I don't get parts mixed up doing that. That's kind of why I was thinking maybe I'll just put them in like this first and see what they come out looking like. And then go ahead and, if it seems worthwhile, disassemble them then, and maybe separate all the parts, bag up the parts, and label what engine they came from, and then go from there. So actually what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put those two back in. I think I've got enough room in my ultrasonic cleaner to drop these two in there, but I think what I want to do first is I want to at least take this. That's too big for that. Take this remote needle valve off here. I'm not sure there's a real need for that. I'll just throw these screws back in here real quick. Like I said, about the only thing that's of real use to me here is potentially these fasteners, because if they're universal fit for numerous engines, I had just been going through a thing where I was looking for screws for an OS engine and didn't find them. So you never know, some of these might be useful for that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go drop these in the ultrasonic and then see how much different they look after they've been in there for a little bit. Okay, so here are these two engines that just came out of, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes in the ultrasonic cleaner. They look considerably better than they did. I mean, there's some discoloration on these engines. So the funny thing is, I have no idea when this 46 FXI came out. I absolutely cannot find it on my OS Engines timeline poster. I can't. I just sat there going through finger by finger, engine by engine, the last 6 or 7 rows of engines, and I never ever saw a 46 FXI on there. And it's weird because it kind of has a head kind of like the LA series, and it has 6 screws. So that's what led me to believe that it was an earlier model than the 46AX. But according to that timeline, the 46AX came out in 2003. So that's a rather old engine too. So I don't know what to say about this 46 FXI. I can't find it on the OS Engines timeline, and that's the extent of the searching I've done thus far, is just to kind of see if I could find it on the timeline. So anyway, that's how these things cleaned up. Now I guess the next step is to get a couple of Ziploc bags and just disassemble whatever is in there. And this carb is a 40B carb. It's discolored, but it looks like it's perfectly serviceable. I have no reason to believe this wouldn't be a serviceable carb. And it had that remote needle also that was on one of these. So I mean, hey, if anybody's interested in some parts here, send me an email, let me know, and probably for the cost of return shipping, they're yours.